Bro, the freaking microphone every damn time. I am so sorry, Asunder. I saw your message. It said, please stop doing the mute openings. And I saw it, and I thought to myself, I won't do it again. And I did it again. I'm retarded. I'm sorry. Tomorrow, I promise. I'll fix it. Okay. But as I was saying, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, guys. Welcome on into the stream. Good morning, Asunder Cobra. I did see your message briefly pop up there, and I did see you remind me about my muting, so hope you're doing most glorious this fine morning, my liege. Anyways, we have some pretty interesting videos to cover. The one that I'm most interested in is the Secret Service handshake. That sounds like some perfect tinfoil hat conspiracy theory that I have come to enjoy, you know, as a fellow Baptist, of course. Everybody calls us crazy conspiracy theorists until we're proven right. Like, I remember watching a video 20 years ago of okay, not 20 years ago, but I'm pretty sure the video was made 20 years ago and I watched it like 10 years ago, where the Baptist preacher Kent Hovind was telling about how humanity came from Turkey. And then, like, I think it was earlier this year, the out of Africa hypothesis was completely thrown out when they discovered, nope, actually, no, we came from Turkey. See, we were right all along. And they didn't believe us, but we were right. Anyways, let's see if I can actually... Yep. Okay. Let's see if I can actually get my browser to work this time. Hopefully it does. Are women okay? Nope, I don't think that's the right one. Let me see if I can fix this. Okay, Brave. There we go, Secret Service handshake. Oh, and it worked. Nice. Alright, let me just set up the audio. And I think we're Gucci. I think we're perfect. Nice. I wonder if I could move it a little bit to the right. Maybe, I don't know. Let me just move my chat box over real quick. There we go. Wonder if I can make this slide. Oopsies. A little bit more, that side. There we go. I think it's perfect now. Sweet. Alright, boys. This is the first one. And it is Secret Service hand, the fake hand. Okay, sorry, it was fake hand, not handshake. Okay, my mistake. I'm so sorry. Let me put the volume up. I don't know why the volume's so low. But there we go. Hopefully the volume is alright for you guys. But anyways, let's get into the video and see what this is all about.
Now, this guy right here went pretty viral a while back when people on the internet started speculating that this Secret Service agent might have been holding a prosthetic hand. Now, I can see why people thought that, especially since in some photos his hand looked pretty stiff with all his fingers extended, which
maybe he's just got arthritis.
Does look a bit unnatural. However, later we can see his fingers close together, which suggests it might not be a prosthetic hand after all. But who really knows, right? Since the Secret Service has never publicly acknowledged the use of prosthetic or fake hands as part of their tactics while guarding the president. That said, multiple videos online have speculated that some Secret Service agents might be using fake hands to disguise the fact that their real hand is holding onto a firearm underneath their coat. And again, while there's no hard solid evidence to back up this theory, I don't think it's entirely far-fetched.
That guy is an alien? Actually, you might be right there, Numbfish. That would explain, like, if it's not a, you know, hand that's underneath his coat, you know, and with the prosthetic just covering it up, maybe the reason why it's all stiff and weird looking is that it's actually an alien. Interesting rumors. Hello, Maltomancer, welcome on in. Also, hello, Numbfish, welcome on in. Hope you guys are doing epic and great today. We're busy learning about the fake hand of the Secret Service, so we got some peak tinfoil hat conspiracy theories going on here.
Especially considering that there's actual video footage during Ronald Reagan's assassination attempt showing Secret Service agents carrying compact machine guns like the Uzi while escorting the president. So while the fake...
Not a fake hand, but still made of rubber? So wait, so his real hand is made out of rubber? Oh, that's an interesting way to combine the theories. I like this thinking a lot.
Hand theory remains unproven. We do know for a fact Secret Service agents are often armed with small and easily concealable firearms to avoid drawing attention. Now, some people have...
I honestly thought this was... I thought that this was part of the barrel, but it's not. It's actually the holster. I was like, damn, bro's got like a full-on sci-fi gun in here. Nope, it was just a submachine gun tucked away.
Speculated that at one point, the Secret Service replaced the Uzi with the MP5, a more modern and compact submachine gun, which years later...
Hello, Creeper Chief, how you doing? It's not a real Fed, it's a sleeper. Oh, like a sleeper agent? Okay, okay. That's some interesting theories right there. I'm surprised no one has mentioned the lizard man theory yet. Also, this guy looks like he comes straight out of Men in Black. But anyways, I digress.
That too was reportedly replaced in favor of the P90, another well-known machine gun commonly known for its high-capacity magazine.
Yeah, doesn't that thing have like 60 rounds in or something stupid? I don't know the exact number, but I know that it's got a freaking huge magazine. I remember playing it with it in a shooter game, but I don't remember which one. I think it was Splinter Cell that I might have played with it. Or it could have been Black. I think it was actually Black. Black was a good game on the PS2, by the way. Absolutely amazing. I've yet to play another video game that had such perfect sound design for its guns.
And compact bulb design. So for today's video, I thought it'd be a fun experiment to entertain the idea and show what it possibly look like to be a Secret Service agent using a prosthetic
60 to 120 rounds. Damn, that's like the Halo assault rifle magazine right there.
can in order to conceal a compact firearm underneath the coat. Now, of course, since I live here in California and we're not allowed to have fun, unfortunately there will be no submachine guns used in today's video. But what we do have
Common California L. Or, yeah, if California is just, backwater.
and probably the next best thing is my AR pistol. Now, for those curious on how I got an AR pistol in the state of California, I made a whole video going over it, so if you guys are interested in that, make sure to check that video out. Now, I'm not going to go entirely into the pistol since I'm going to save that for a future video, but the whole idea here
Is he gonna shoot a cutout of Donald Trump? Is that legal?
is I'm supposed to be a Secret Service agent with a prosthetic hand to disguise the fact that I'm actually holding onto a firearm underneath my coat to protect the president. So when it came to building the setup, I started with a fake prosthetic hand. I basically just ordered a cheap hand meant for jewelry display. Now, obviously, since I'm a little darker, I decided to throw on some black leather gloves to help with concealment and give it a more conceiving look. Next, I had to figure out how to attach the hand to the coat in a way that didn't look too obvious. For that, I used a Velcro strap and secured it to the inside of the coat. Now, the last part was the arm itself. Since there was nothing actually filling out the sleeve except for the fake hand, it looked pretty flat and obviously fake.
Do you know what he should have done? You know those mannequins that you have in the clothing stores? He should have ripped an arm off of one of those and just stuffed it inside the jacket. Like, even if you secured it somehow, I think that would probably make a pretty convincing looking arm, It's nice and solid, nice and firm.
So to give it some structure, I stuffed it with a few t-shirts inside the sleeve to create this illusion of an arm, and boom, close enough. Now, I understand this doesn't look the most realistic, and at some points you can clearly tell there's no arm or hand in that sleeve, but hey, I don't have that Secret Service kind of budget here. Next up is the drill itself. Now, because Trump couldn't make it out here, I had to settle for a cardboard lookalike, which I clipped onto my target stance. Now, the idea here is that we're walking down a roadway when a few potential threats, aka these other cardboard targets, start getting a little too close, and once my shot timer goes off, those threats fully present themselves, and my job at that moment is to eliminate those threats, secure the area, and return to protect the president. Now, there's
I have a question regarding this. Why do the Secret Service members actually conceal their guns? Like, wouldn't it be more of a deterrent if you had them on full display?
two different techniques used during this drill. The first one starts with both hands down on my sides, and as I get closer to the threat, I raise.
It's all fun and games until the mannequin arm grabs the gun. Okay, now that we just entered, from cool security, technology, suppose you could call it that, and we just entered into the realm of utterly terrifying.
My left hand to signal to them to stop and back away. The second technique is one that's often seen the Secret Service doing, is having both hands together.
It's called Secret Service for a reason. Yeah, it's Secret Service, not Secret Firearm. Just how we do it, I guess? Oh, okay, fair enough. Because I feel like your job is to protect the president. I feel like you could do a better job protecting the president if you have an open, I suppose you could say visible collection of firepower, sitting around the president where people can look and say, okay, these guys are really well armed. I don't want to take the risk. Rather than looking like, just regular civilians in business clothes. But that's just my 2 cents. There could be a reason behind it. I don't know. But speaking of mannequins, I was the one time at the mall, I was busy walking by one of the clothing shops, and this one guy who was behind one of the mannequins, he decided to be funny. And as I walked past, I think it was like in the middle of the night, like 10 p.m., and they're busy closing up shop. And he thought it was funny as we walked past. You just quickly turned the mannequin head while we couldn't see him, and so we just walked past because the Saiyans know what your capabilities is. Okay, fair point. And so as you're walking past, we looked at it and like, okay, cool, bunch of mannequins with clothes, and then the head just turns to look at us. Bro, my heart sank so much. It just fell to my feet, right out of my butt. I just wanted to die of a heart attack. I'm like, hell no. I ain't never walking around a mall ever again at night. That was too much for me. Weeping Angels moment? Yep. Although I was the one weeping that day.
In front of their waist. Okay, so now that you understand the layout and the techniques that will be used, let's first start off with the first drill with both hands down and one threat.
Also regarding what the enemy not knowing capabilities are, like you could have a whole bunch of people that not only are around the president but also in the crowds that could be armed that the enemy might not know. Oh, hello, Fisali Mojito, welcome, welcome. So think about it logically. If you're, say, if they're actually having their weapons out in the open, you'd be like, okay, cool. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guards. We'll order the snipers to take them out, and then we'll hit the president or something like that. But if they're all concealed, you don't know how many potential targets you have, so you could maybe pop off 5 guys, and then the 6th one gets you because you don't know he was holding a firearm. And then your whole plan could go belly up. So I do see the logic in concealing the firearms. Okay, makes a lot more sense now. Okay. What was that beep? But damn. Also, they're wearing armor under the suits? I imagine so. It seems like a pretty good idea to wear some form of protection underneath the suits, especially when you're guarding someone as high profile as a president. You want maximum protection for yourselves, too.
Now, this was my first time doing a drill like this, and honestly, it felt badass. But that said, I totally forgot about the objective, probably because I'm so used to running CCW drills where I only have to focus on protecting myself that I totally forgot about protecting the president. So the next drill, everything is the same except for the technique.
Okay, let's see. Like, if that was one of those mannequin arms, that could probably be pretty convincing. Damn, he pulled that firearm out really fast.
Here we have both hands together up.
He had the what do you call it? The quick aim perk, you know, from Call of Duty.
Yeah. Right. Now, looking back at the footage, I think this technique came across as the most realistic. I did notice when I had both hands at my sides, the prosthetic hand hung slightly lower than my real hand, completely giving it away. However, when I had both hands together, my right arm looked way too stiff. But hey, we're working with what we got. But still, I felt like this technique captured the most real-world tension you would expect from this kind of situation. Now from here, I decided to wrap things up a bit by adding a second threat.
Okay, interesting. He doubled the threat. I feel like I would have just held in the trigger and just, you know, sprayed it in an arc. But then again, you don't want to do that in a crowd, okay? You might hit the civilian, so, you know, you gotta take them out one at a time, unfortunately. You can't just, you know, mag dump and go for a bullet hose. Pew pew pew?
Now, introducing a second threat did make it a bit more challenging since I've never actually done this before, not even in my standard CCW training. So I had to figure out when to transition from the first target to the second, and in my head I figured maybe 3 to 4 shots on the first threat would be realistic enough to neutralize them.
Depends on the crowds. Ooh, you make a dangerously cool point right there. I'm not sure if you want to put in 3 to 4 rounds in a target. I feel like just double tapping them is more than sufficient. Because the less time you spend shooting on target A, you know, the more time it gives target B to shoot at the president. So I feel like, you know, you want to pop off 1 or 2 rounds, hit the next guy, then once they're recovering, because getting shot is pretty painful, then you can finish them off if they're still moving, you know, but you want to make sure that they're neutralized as fast as possible. So I just, you know, double tap them, pa-pa. But hey, I'm not Secret Service, I don't know these things.
Or at least put them down as I immediately move on to the next. Now, while we didn't see any Secret Service agents pull out P90s during Trump's first assassination attempt, we did, however, see a lot of handguns carried outside the waistband, concealed underneath their suits. So I thought it'd be interesting to...
Standard police training is 2 in the chest, 1 in the head. Oh, so you have to fire 3 shots, or you gotta choose between 1 in the head and 2 in the chest? Just to clarify that for me, please.
Test that out. So I ran the same drill, but this time using a handgun instead of my AR pistol. Now, to keep the draw speed consistent, I started in a ready to draw stance with my hand already on the grip, That way, the moment the shot timer went off, I was ready to draw
3
immediately
shots?
and engage.
Okay. Oh, I'm so sorry. Give me a sec, guys. My cat's stuck in my room. Let me open up the door. There we go. And there goes that bomb. Okay, I'm back. Not the cat? Oh, okay. I've got a question regarding what you said about the 3 shots. If you shoot the guy once in the head, isn't that enough? Like, why do you have to shoot him 2 times in the chest? I feel like if you get shot in the head, it's over for you. Like, under what circumstance would you need to shoot him in the chest after you've already gotten a headshot? Unless you go for twice in the chest and then a headshot. But if that's true, why not just shoot him in the head? People have survived that and worse. Yeah, after like maybe a month in the hospital. You don't just get up from a shot to the head. Unless maybe, like, by some sheer miracle, like, I don't know, maybe it just passes through your jaw or something, it doesn't touch your brain. But if your noodle gets spilled out, that's pretty much over for you. Center of mass usually better than headshots? Okay. Why is that? People have? Like, just instantly got shot in the head and just got up and just be like, pew pew pew? How do you do that with half your brain spilling out? That makes no sense to me. Unless I am completely getting something very, very wrong here. Like, okay, if you get shot in, like, the lower part of your head, okay, you're probably gonna be fine. Like, if it's in the jaw or the nose or something. But, like, if your noggin gets, you know, splattered like an egg, I feel like there's not much you're gonna be able to do. Maybe I've just been playing too many video games. Honestly, maybe. Heart shots are more lethal than brain shots, but sometimes the heart is on the other side of the body. That is true. You do get some people with mirrored hearts where it's leaning towards the right side of the body, not the left. Headshots can be unreliable. Skull is the hardest bone in the body. Well, yeah, but anything that's a 9mm and over is going to blow that skull to smithereens. Like, unless you shoot the guy with a pellet gun, it's going to go clean through his skull. Bullets travel very fast. Like, sure, maybe if you get like a really, really weak caliber and you shot him from like 200 meters away, maybe it doesn't penetrate all the way. But like, especially with submachine guns and any type of rifling, it's gonna go clean through. To my knowledge, anyways.
And once again, the drill ran perfectly. I was able to draw my firearm and land quick yet accurate shots on the first target before transitioning to the second. Now,
I don't know, ask Billy later, he would know better than anyone. True, I feel like Katyusha, since she's an actual soldier, she might actually also know as well. Or I could just ask my mom because, you know, she's got a gun competency, she sells firearms for a living, so yeah, I could always ask her. Going clean through is why it isn't always lethal. Oh yeah, I remember a case where some guy got shot in the noggin and it just split, you know, that little bridge between the two halves of his like brain hemispheres. Forget what it's called, the cerebellum, I think. And the guy survived miraculously. Somehow, he survived. But of course, you know, his mental state and his personality were completely warped afterwards, but he did live. There was also another incident when a guy got, I think it was a metal rod stuck right through his head, and he lived after that. It's really, you know, anyone's guess whether or not you're going to survive a headshot. So I guess, you know, in all fairness, it's probably better to just, you know, dump a few extra rounds in his chest just in case.
Now, after doing all that testing, do I personally believe that all Secret Service agents are walking around with a fake hand while their real hands are holding on to some machine guns underneath their coats? Probably not. And the reason why is because we can clearly see that not all Secret Service agents are wearing these long coats all the time, and I just can't imagine them hiding some machine guns underneath those small little vests. Now, do I believe the Secret Service has ever used this technique while escorting the president? Most likely. And if they haven't, they're really missing out. I mean, when else can you walk around in public with your hand on your weapon, ready to draw at a moment's notice without anyone suspecting a thing? And from my limited training and budget, I can absolutely see this method being perfected with the right tools and techniques to the point that you probably wouldn't even notice it's a prosthetic hand or realize that someone is concealing a submachine gun at their side.
Alright, here's my hot take. What if they do have the prosthetic hand, but they've got their real hand, you know, finger on the trigger, ready to withdraw their weapon? However, hear me out. That prosthetic hand is actually a mechanical robot hand with a built-in firearm or weapon of some kind. So when the guy pulls out his weapon, he's got double fire. He's got two barrels aiming down at you. You know, maybe he's got a plasma cannon in his prosthetic, and he's got like a Uzi or some sort of submachine gun, you know, in his real hand. Twice the threat. Guy in Florida was shot in the middle of the night by his wife while he was sleeping. He went to hospital like 12 hours because he had a headache. Okay, but I mean, he's Florida, man, so, you know, I'm not surprised stuff like that happens. Like, can you imagine you get shot in the head, like, you know, the Halo announcers just goes inside of your killer's ear and says, "Headshot." And you just like, damn, I got a headache. Wonder what happened. This reminds me of, what was it? Adrian Carton de Wiart, which was the the immortal soldier from World War I, World War II era, who got shot in the head, by the way, and he lived. Not only there, he also got shot in the side. He got his, you know, arm blown off. He survived multiple plane crashes. He dug out of a prison with one hand. This guy went through it all. Okay, and at the end of the war, in his journal, he wrote, "Quite frankly, I had enjoyed the war." He was the Giga Chad of the 1900s. And there is a reason why they call him the Immortal Soldier. I think Sabaton even made a song about him. He was a true Chad.
That's all I gotta say. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, if you're interested in seeing some CCW drills, make sure to check out my Instagram at Shatterthewicked. Also, if you want to get in contact with me, that's a great place.
Giga Chad,
but other than that, hope you guys have a good weekend. Stay safe and God bless. Now, this guy right here.
Oh, right, clappies. That was a good video. Appreciate that. I learned some new stuff about firearms in the Secret Service, and potentially some interesting conspiracies revolving around their hands. Nice, nice, nice. Okay then, let me link you guys the videos after we're done with the clappies. We did give a like. Make sure to give the guy a like too.